One more. One more. Beautiful. Good. That's what we got to bring him on to. Nobody can take them.
Had to wear the Kronk merch. Shout out Kronk. So first session is strength. We're basically gonna be doing some explosive weights, high intensity, short amount of time. We're working on our sprint systems.
But if I can beat Jake Paul, then excuse my French, what the f is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that.
Anthony Joshua prepares with steady focus as he trains for his matchup with Jake Paul. His camp shows a calm but determined athlete working through strength sessions, technical movement drills, and controlled sparring rounds. Joshua's confidence is clear, shaped by years of elite competition. On the other side, Jake Paul also trains with intensity, trying to prove he can stand across from a world-class heavyweight. His team pushes him hard, knowing this fight is his biggest test yet. The build-up is unusual, but fascinating. A YouTuber turned boxer facing a former unified heavyweight champion. Both men put in work, raising curiosity about how this talked-about showdown will play out when they finally meet in the ring. Inside his camp, Anthony Joshua trains with complete confidence. He knows the gap.
And just to clarify, I don't class Otto Wallin as a very competitive fight. Every competitive fight that AJ is in from now until the end of his career and has been in for the last few years, I believe has taken something out of him. Every time he's in a competitive fight, even when he's won, and I'm not saying taken out of him to the extent where he's no longer a good fighter, no longer can do anything, but every single one has taken one out of him. So let's say, for example, you go down the Tony Yoka route and you can sell it as the 2 Olympic gold medalists and whatever. It's a lose-lose, mate. You're expected to knock him out. If you don't, then you go the distance. I think that's going to take something out of you. I actually think that this could be better prep for a Tyson Fury fight. Not just
mentally as well, because he smokes him and it looks great, and then he's confident.
This is what I'm saying, right? Not just from a stylistic boxing standpoint, but from the mental standpoint of the fact that if you go in there and you smoke Jake Paul, straight away, all of a sudden, it's headline news, it's massive, and as well as that, you're coming in off the back of something that's impressive, right? We all felt like the Francis Ngannou performance was really impressive, but it wasn't followed up with an impressive performance. So it doesn't actually determine whether or not...
This is worse. This is worse. This is worse than that. I don't know what you're thinking, Lawrence, but the Ngannou one, you could at least say heavyweight. You could say that his pedigree. So we didn't really... While he was coming from a different kind of method of fighting, end of the day, he's still a champion. We're talking about Jake Paul, guys.
Do you know what's mad? Can I just add something in before Loza jumps in? There are Americans, and I've heard them in the last 24 hours, giving Jake Paul a better chance than Francis Ngannou, saying he has the boxing experience. Francis Ngannou didn't have enough boxing experience. Because that's how Americans view this whole thing.
Well, no, Francis Ngannou did have more boxing experience than Jake Paul.
Well, yeah. But that's what they're saying is Francis Ngannou had 1 fight, Jake Paul's had 10, 12.
10 rounds, and you little say I'm licking his ass. 10 rounds of Tyson Fury, will gain you more.
Between him and Jake Paul is wide, both in experience and skill. Still, Joshua pushes himself daily, refusing to underestimate any opponent. His mission is simple: step into the ring, dominate from the opening bell, and put an end to the noise, hype, and bold claims coming from Jake Paul. For Joshua, this fight isn't just a payday, it's a chance to make a statement. Ed Ahern shares that the financial offer on the table for Anthony Joshua is simply too enormous to ignore. At this stage in Joshua's career, with championships, major fights, and massive paydays already behind him, a high-paying matchup like this becomes a strategic business decision. Ahern emphasizes that boxing has always been about both legacy and earnings. And when a fighter receives a massive purse for a matchup he can manage without extreme risk, it becomes a smart professional choice. He explains that Jake Paul's unbelievably large offer opened the door, and Joshua is walking through it because no fight...
There has been conversations, obviously. I think it comes down to how true, they are. Jake Paul is that he actually wants to fight. I mean, he's a madman if he wants to fight. But for some reason, and he thinks he can beat AJ. And I have to be honest, we were going to have a run out in December, over 8 rounds against a bloke you've never heard of. And we may end up having a run out against Jake Paul for a career high payday. I don't see how we can turn it down.
When I asked you about it a couple of days ago, you said that at that time you never really got into the financials. Have those been discussed now? Have you discussed the financial element?
Yeah, there has been some conversations around that, and it is, I mean, it's a huge amount of money. And I think AJ would be mad if he didn't do it, and I think he will do it if Jake Paul is genuine. We may wake up tomorrow with these people and they've announced another fight. Like, honestly, anything could happen. So I still can't get my head around the fact that this guy wants to challenge AJ. Listen, respect to him if it's true, but we shall see.
To end on that note, I spoke to Alpha Sharpen earlier. He said that himself or DAZN have had no conversations about AJ potentially taking that fight. Obviously, AJ is exclusive to DAZN. What's the situation with regards to that? Because I know there's one here.
Apparently the fight's done. Obviously, it's not done because, you know, those conversations have to take place. I'm very confident that I can have some positive conversations with DAZN. Obviously, we'll be on a clock, but it's a 50-50.
Last one from me. I saw Chris McKenna tweeted that Anthony Joshua currently doesn't have a British Boxing Board of Control licence. Obviously, it's not unusual for someone who isn't fighting currently and he's inactive to let it run out. But
especially at the top, turns down easy money that aligns with timing, training, and career goals. In Hearn's view, Joshua accepting this fight isn't unusual. It's practical. Experts highlight that Joshua's resume is filled with some of the hardest punchers and most skilled heavyweights of this generation. Even after a 14-month break, they say the gap between him and Jake Paul is massive. Joshua has spent years battling world champions, Olympic medalists, and elite athletes who pushed him to his limits. Jake Paul, meanwhile, is still learning the deeper layers of the sport, although ring inactivity can affect any fighter. Analysts insist Joshua's fundamentals, power, reach, and ring IQ remain far superior. They add that Joshua's previous defeat.
He was a hard worker. Second thing I knew, genetically, he's very gifted, but I knew after the evaluation we had some work to do. Now I've seen his body already evolve into something totally different. I've seen his conditioning evolve into something different. And more importantly, his understanding of his body and why he's doing things the way he's doing them. That's the most important evolution.
Should not be compared to the level of competition Jake Paul has faced. Their conclusion, even after time away, Joshua has more than enough ability to control the fight and dominate whenever he chooses. Adam Catter all strongly criticizes the decision to make this matchup a fully sanctioned professional fight rather than a controlled exhibition. He argues that this puts Jake Paul in dangerous territory because Joshua's natural heavyweight power is far beyond anything Paul has ever experienced. Exhibitions allow
Turki Al-Sheikh are trying to make next year, but Eddie Hearn has said we need Anthony Joshua back in that ring. He's not been in the ring since losing to Daniel Dubois in devastating fashion at Wembley Stadium last year. But if he'd have said that time ago that his next fight would be Jake Paul, not a single person on this planet would believe me. But it does look like now that Anthony Joshua, the former world champion, is about to face Jake Paul in a month's time.
Mate, it's a great thing, so we're going to
frustrated or confused. Experts say Joshua is making decisions based on timing, business, and opportunity, following the path that makes sense for him right now. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for the next update, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more boxing breakdowns and fight analysis.